Rain delay, the Mets and Marlins appear ready to play baseball tonight in what technically is the first game of a doubleheader. The Mets and Marlins were rained out last night. They were scheduled to play a doubleheader starting at 4:10 this afternoon. This is the first game of a doubleheader. We haven't heard any official word as to whether we're playing one game tonight, two games tonight, one game tomorrow, two games tomorrow. However, there is baseball to be played. It never rained particularly hard for the 5.5 hours that the game was delayed. However, it was delayed, and now we're ready to play baseball. And Keith is next to me, and I'm Gary, and we're so happy to have you with us. Thanks for holding out with us. I hope you enjoyed all of the Mets yearbooks. We went backwards in time, back through the 80s, all the way back to 1980. And so we had a chance to relive a little history along the way. Yes, and I must say I haven't been able to see all those the seasons back in the 80s and in the late 70s. We've been here for 5-6 hours, and I must say that I enjoyed watching the highlights, and it brought back a lot of memories. Not only are Keith and I here, but a little secret. Ron Darling is also in the building, and he's been here pretty much since the scheduled start time of the first game, because he is scheduled to work the second game of the doubleheader, if it happens. If it happens. And that would mean, well, if this is going to start at 9:45, that would be a late start. So our crew has been sitting around waiting for the game to begin, but it wasn't until just a few moments ago that they had their Shake Shack delivered. And so just on the cusp of coming on the air, they're all lined up to have their big feed. They are so excited. They can't wait to get out there. I mean, the fries alone. So you know that even though we're here a little later than we expected and starting much later than we expected, our crew is well fed, so they should bring you a high quality product tonight. Meanwhile, Zach Wheeler will be on the mound for the Mets tonight, and Wheeler has been spectacular over the second half of the season and now trying to keep it going after sitting around and waiting for this. Here's the Marlins starting lineup. Marlins won the opening game of the series last night, 5-3. And JT Riddle, who hasn't started the game in a week but hit a home run coming off the bench last night, he's in there tonight. So is Magneuris Sierra. Otherwise, the same unit. Don Mattingly ran out there last night, as Wheeler, after 5.5 hours of waiting, is getting his warm-up pitches in and getting ready to make his 28th start of the year. And the Toyota numbers for Zach, and they are better than they look. He has really put together a tremendous 2.5 months, but over his last 10 starts, he's 8-1 with an ERA of 1.86. That lone loss was against the Giants in San Francisco, and he gave up 1 run in 7 innings and got the L. He has just been absolutely fantastic. And the Lexus starting Met defensive infield, Jose Reyes gets the start at third base in this first game of a doubleheader. Dominic Smith also gets the start at first. Tomas Nido behind the plate. And Jay Bruce out in right field, his old hunting ground, I should say. Anyway, there's Zach. Rafael Ortega will lead things off for the Marlins. I do not recall a longer rain delay in all the years that I have been broadcasting Mets baseball. Well, as a player, it's difficult. You sit around. I know the players have a lot bigger clubhouses today, but bigger places to relax. But at Old Shea Stadium, you know, you just had a stool to kind of hang out on. And, boy, it was a long rain delay, that's for sure. So Ortega's in the batter's box. Wheeler is ready to go, and the long delayed first pitch of this game is a fastball in for a call strike, and we are finally underway. So the official time on the rain delay is 5 hours and 35 minutes. Ortega 0 for 3 in the opening game of the series last night, and Wheeler's fastball is fouled off, and it's 0-2. Well, right out of the chute, this has been the big plus for Wheeler. He's just throwing strikes, getting ahead, and using his fastball early. Ahead of the count, 0-2, and Ortega pops it up. Should be easy for Reyes at third base, and Jose puts it away for the first out of the night. So 1 out and nobody on. Starlin Castro hitting second in the order for Miami. Castro 0 for 3 last night, hitting a .286 for the year.
What's been terrific about Zach and his last 18 starts, beginning the 1st of June, is over 117 in the 3rd innings. He's only walked 33, and that is really fantastic.
And he moves Castro back off the plate with his first fastball.
Zach has always been a guy that's been challenged command-wise, and boy, he is a different pitcher.
He's got his season walk number down to 2.8 walks per 9 innings. Castro bounces a 2-hopper down to Reyes, and Jose guns him down for the 2nd out. So 2 up and 2 set aside. And now JT Realmuto. Realmuto 1 for 4 in last night's game. Wheeler has pitched some of his better games over his career against Miami. 3 starts this year, 2-1, 1.80. 10 starts in his career, 4-2, 2.13. Even when he was not particularly faring well against other clubs, he's always had a handle on the Marlins. Realmuto, one of the few in the lineup who's done well against him. He's 3 for 6 against Wheeler.
And Wheeler's just wild enough with that fastball that runs in on right-hand hitters. That keeps him honest. They can't dive out on the plate on Zach.
Well, he's thrown a first pitch fastball inside to both Castro and Realmuto, and whether that's being effectively wild or by design, it certainly has its impact.
Well, he's got that free and easy motion that almost can hypnotize a hitter, and the ball just explodes out of his hands. He's one of the league's top hardest throwers.
And he just keeps getting better and better over the course of this year. You go back just to the All-Star break, he's got the 2nd best ERA in the majors. Only Trevor Williams of the Pirates at 1.32, better than Wheeler, 1.50 since the All-Star break, even better than DeGrom. 3-1 coming, and Realmuto flies one out to right center. Cutting in is Nimmo, and Brandon puts it away, and it's a 1-2-3 opening inning for Zach Wheeler. 10 pitches in a 1-2-3 first. Mets come to bat with no score. Reyes is getting a start. Todd Frazier sitting out. Game 1 of the doubleheader.
And the Land Rover numbers for the rookie Trevor Richards, who started the season Had 5 starts in April. Got sent down the month of May. Recalled in June. 3-8 record for a team that is in last place. Too many walks of what I see. Big changeup is his big out pitch. Who doesn't have a changeup today, Gare?
Ahmed Rosario leads off. Rosario 0 for 5 last night in the series opener. And Richards throws a first pitch fastball at the knees. 0-1. Rosario, McNeil, and Conforto for the Mets in the first. And it's popped up in foul ground. Dietrich has room to reel it in. And that's the first out.
The Jeep Marlin defense. Real Muto, all-star catcher, having a terrific year behind the plate. Very athletic defensively. Out in the outfield, Magnarice Sierra. I just mentioned Magnarice because I like the first name, Magnarice. It's a sweet name.
Here's Jeff McNeil. His streak of reaching base in 22 straight starts ended in last night's game. He went 0 for 4 and he takes inside 1-0. We've just got an official word from the Mets that they intend to play only 1 game tonight and that there will be a doubleheader tomorrow starting at 3:10 p.m. So
3:10.
So you don't have to stay up till 3 in the morning tonight. McNeil slices one foul and it's 1-1. So this is no longer the first game of a doubleheader, Keith. This is a standalone single game.
So Ronnie can
go home.
He can go.
Good changeup by Richards. That's the pitch that Keith was talking about, and the one that fueled Richards' unlikely rise to the major leagues. This is a kid who played Division II ball at Drury University in Missouri, was not drafted, and went into independent ball for 2 years before the Marlins signed him in 2016, and he made a meteoric rise through their system. Tapped the other way, nobody playing over there, and McNeil has base hit. Well, so he threw him the changeup low and away. McNeil went right with the pitch. The Marlins had a full shift on, and McNeil is on with a 1-out single.
Well, McNeil, who had a rare 0 for last night, 0 for 4, just kind of, I'll say that, Gary, slapped that ball to left field. Why? Because it was just so wide open. Just place it out there and you're on base. He's a table setter. I mean, you're going to pitch me away and give me that left side of the infield. He didn't even follow through. That's a poke.
That's a wee willie killer right there. Hit them where they ain't. Here's Michael Conforto, who's on a roll right now. He's homered in 3 straight games. Last night a double and a home run. Michael now hitting .266 since the All-Star break, and he's hit 13 of his 24 home runs since the break. And Richards throws a fastball by him, and it's 1-1. McNeil at first and 1 out. And Conforto takes the changeup down, 2-1. Richards was pitching in A ball and AA ball last year. This year made 6 starts in AAA before his call-up. The heartiest of kudos to the fans who have sat through this interminable rain delay to get to the first inning tonight. 2-2 to Conforto. I mean, it's a small but hearty bunch, and
yep.
You know, it takes a lot of fortitude to sit through a 5.5-hour rain delay.
I stepped outside, kind of snuck around back there to the Foxwood lounge there, and people were kind of laid out on the couches and sofas.
Well, good on them. It's not often that you have a circumstance like this. I mean, clearly they didn't think the rain was going to last so long, and they thought that it was going to be heavier, and then it wasn't. So sometimes you just can't judge the weather, and you end up playing at 9:45.
Well, it really just kind of didn't really pour. Right. Had one little period where it rained hard around 4:30, And otherwise, it was just a steady, light rain.
Yeah, it's one of those retrospect things. In retrospect, they probably could have started at 410 and played in the rain. McNeil runs, and Conforto fouls off the high fastball. So McNeil running on the 3-2 pitch. But we're here now.
We're here.
And there's baseball being played, and there's joy in the land.
And in the immortal words of Ernie Banks, let's play 2
tomorrow. one tonight, 2 tomorrow. McNeil was running on the first 3-2 pitch, and he's going again, and Conforto pulls one to the right side, and that's Anderson, the third baseman, playing on the right side, who makes the play. McNeil advances, and there are 2 out. So runner in scoring position with 2 out. Jay Bruce coming up.
It's actually, when you're going to play the shift like that off Conforto, who's had difficulty with off-speed pitches, you know, pitch him to your defense, which was his changeup, got Conforto to roll over.
I mean, it's really the same pitch he threw McNeil. McNeil went with it and hit it through the vacated space, and Conforto rolled over.
They're 2 different hitters. McNeil, a setup guy that sprays the ball all around the field. And Conforto, of course, I think is being asked for more power.
Well, the funny thing about it, right, is that McNeil, and one of the reasons he got to the big leagues this year is that he showed newfound power down in the minors. He hit 19 home runs.
Yes.
And that was one of the reasons for his call-up, but he has been a completely different type of hitter since he arrived.
Well, I think this is what he is. He is a top-of-the-order, traditional top-of-the-order hitter. And really, number 2 hitter, you want to be a left-hand hitter because you're a speedster at the top of the order. Leading off, you're covering him because the catcher can't see because you're blocking the catcher's view if you're a left-hand hitter.
And Bruce takes a fastball for a strike, 2-1. Jay didn't start the opening game of the series. Came off the bench last night and lined out as a pinch hitter.
And a big shift on Jay, of course. Jay's pull hitter.
And foul tips a fastball, and it's 2-2. Richards 8 days since his last start, and he got knocked out in the second inning of that last go-around. That was against the Phillies. Gave up 6 runs in an inning and a third in that start, and trying to bounce back from that. 2-2 coming to Bruce, and he lays off the changeup, and it's 3-2. And so you can see Richards likes to throw his changeup, and he likes to throw it a lot. 32% of his pitches this year have been changeups.
This would be a guy, if I was a left-hand hitter, you want to crowd the plate a little bit on him. And speaking of the Phillies, I think just going down to their last frame here, they're going to lose. They're at the bottom of the 9th, losing 5-1 to Washington.
Well, that second game of the doubleheader last night, I think, was the one that really put the last nail in the coffin. They blew a 3-run lead in the 9th. Juan Soto hit a home run in the 10th, and the Nats swept a doubleheader. And with the Braves winning earlier today and beating San Francisco, Atlanta now up by 7 and soon to be 7.5, and that National League East race appears to be just about over.
Well, I shouldn't say early congratulations.
This ball 4 to Bruce, and the Mets have 2 men on. The other piece for the Phillies today is that Aaron Nola started and gave up 4 runs, all earned in 5 innings. So his ERA goes up to 2.42, which puts more distance between DeGrom and Nola.
And I think it's come down to a 2-horse race now. Max Scherzer, of course, with the Washington Nationals, and that young man right there, Jacob DeGrom.
So Nimmo with a chance with 2 out and 2 on. Brandon 0 for 3 last night. And he takes a fastball on the inside edge, 0-1.
I think we're going to have an expanded strike zone in this game.
Adam Hamari is the home plate umpire. You think he's in a rush, Keith?
I think every hitter should be warned, like what Frank Pulte used to do.
Realmuto throwing behind the runner. It goes into center field, but McNeil still down on the ground.
Is he all right? Or do you just get pancaked? Got dirt on his forehead.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened to him, but he comes up reaching for his left ear.
What happens is the field a little wet, and you get planted. You don't skid like you think you're going to. And his head. Oh, he got clocked.
The knee of JT Riddle.
So he got he got knee butted.
Ooh, that
yes,
was
he did.
Hit too. So trainer Brian Chicklow was out along with Mickey Callaway to see if Jeff was okay, but apparently he's fine. It's a little dirty. A lot of mud out there, you know. So a bad throw by Realmuto. If McNeil had not been thunderstruck, he might have been on third base. Instead, he stays at second. Bruce at first. A 1-1 count to Nimmo with 2 down. And Brandon swings at the changeup and misses, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, he's got that sinking change. And you're going to get it if you're a left-hand hitter.
It's one of the reasons why Richards has backward splits this year. The righties have hit him far better than the lefties.
Correct. 286 to 222. And see, he's smart enough to know he's got to spot that fastball inside, because you cannot. He's got to keep the left-hand hitters honest inside with his fastball. Can't just live on the outside corner with that changeup.
This will be his 25th pitch of the opening inning. 2 on, 2 out, 2-2 to Nimmo. And he pulls one down to first, and Dietrich handles it, and that retires the side. So the Mets strand a pair in the first. No score after 1. Still alert and ready for some more baseball.
You never know. That might be the next Jacob deGrom. You just never know.
Or the next Zach Wheeler. Zach got the side 1-2-3 in the first. He faces Brian Anderson in the second. And Anderson takes a slider for a strike. Anderson 2 for 4 last night, including a triple, drove in a run. Hitting .272 in his rookie season. And he grounds one to the right side, and Dominic Smith to his right Wheeler covers, one away.
Very smooth by Dominic. Nice hands.
Playing off the line. Came further off the line.
Absolutely. Love it out there. Take that hole away. Beautiful feed.
Both those smooth left-handed first basemen.
It's a positions made for a lefty. No doubt about it.
Here's Dietrich, left-hand hitter, but right-hand throwing first baseman.
Really, he's what is he? Really a left fielder?
A little
bit. He's played second base. He's played third base.
He is an everyday utility man. And there's your big strike zone.
Well, it's already happening. So, I mean, Frank Pulley would just say, guys, swing the bats. And that's fair enough. And it would be fair. Anything, just the borderline pitch that can go either way, you wouldn't get it that night.
And Dietrich foul tips it for strike 3. And Wheeler's got his first strikeout of the night.
Well, Wheeler's elevating too. He's learned to elevate. He really turned the corner, Zach, when he started throwing that split change. And you remember, Gary, when he started in June, when it started to turn for him, he really just hardly threw his breaking ball. He just came a two-pitch pitch of the fastball and that split change, and then everything else fell into place. After around 2 or 3 starts, his breaking ball followed.
Lewis Brinson had the big hit against Jacob deGrom last night, a 2-run double off the center field fence. That was enough to beat deGrom and hand him his 9th loss of the year. And he drives this one to center, but Nimmo has it measured, and that retires the side. 6 up and 6 down for Zach Wheeler on just 17 pitches. No score in the second. Home second inning. Dominic Smith leads off against Trevor Richards and takes a fastball for a strike. Smith starting for the 4th time in the last 5 games.
Which I must say I'm very happy to see. Get a look here and see what Dom can do.
And Richards gets ahead of him 0-2. Reyes and Nito to follow for the Mets in the second. Dom's had 90 big league at bats this year. He was 1 for 4 last night. Richards throws another fastball. Dom fouls that one off.
I tell you what, as an everyday player, and when you sit out for this long, I mean, this is an extreme rain delay, but even when it's an hour and a half, your whole chemistry gets offset. It's really, you have to really bear down on this game.
That's hooked down the right field line, and Smith's got a base hit. Chased toward the corner by Sierra. Dom's going to try for 2, and Sierra's throw comes up short, and Smith has a leadoff double. So behind in the count 0-2, Dom gets a changeup and yanks it down the line for his 8th double of the year.
Let this man play and see what he can do here. A little change up, let go with one hand, stayed back nice.
So the Mets have their second hit against Richards. And now Jose Reyes making his first start since last Friday against the Phillies. And he hits one out to right center field. Back in the gap, Sierra. He won't get it. It's one hop to the wall. Smith got a late start, but he'll turn third and try and score. No relay throw, and now Castro finally throws home 2 late. And the Mets have a 1-0 lead. Smith got sent home by Glenn Sherlock, but he would have been a dead duck if Castro had thrown the ball. Castro held it. Dom scores, and the Mets have a 1-0 lead.
Well, Reyes scalds this ball. Fastball. That's Smith again. And here's Reyes. Fastball inner half. And Dom should have been halfway, and he was not. And he got a late read, and he would have been out. And it is the job of Riddle, the shortstop, to get in. He's called the trailer, folks, and he's there. Castro's back's to the play. He's got to be told home, third, run it in.
Certainly can't blame it on crowd noise. Here's Tomas Nido, and he bounces one foul, 0-1.
You see Dom with how his reaction is here. You can't get caught going back and forth. There's just no need. Because even if the guy makes a catch, he's not going to. He's back at the warning track. You can't throw W off. So you just sit halfway. And there's Jose with where we've seen that over the years.
So it's an RBI double for Reyes, and honestly, Glenn Sherlock should have held Smith at third once he got that late start, but Castro's hesitation, for whatever reason, winds up bailing the Mets out. So it's back-to-back doubles for Smith and Reyes to produce a run. Nido getting the start behind the plate tonight, his 18th start this year for the Mets, hitting 180 through 61 at bats. And he pulls one down to third. Tough hop. It goes under the glove of Anderson and into left field. Reyes turns third. He heads on home, and Reyes will score, and it's 2-0 New York. A wicked ground ball, but one that Anderson was there for. It just went past his glove and into the outfield.
Well, if he was in an arena in Madrid, they'd be saying "Ole." He just did not get in front of this ball. Look how he played it to the side. He did not want to get in front. And there you go, right there. Open the floodgates. Let the bull come by the red cape. Cost you a run.
And that'll be an error charge to Anderson. No RBI. So the Mets with 2 runs home. Still nobody out. And Wheeler will bat. Marlins look for the bunt. And Wheeler pokes at it and fouls it off. Zach has 8 hits this year. Only 2 sacrifice bunts.
And Jacob deGrom must be sitting in that dugout and saying, what in the world is going on here?
Well, some shoddy defense by the Marlins helping the Mets out. Wheeler gets the bunt down. Dietrich's play is to first, and he throws it wide, and Castro fortunate to reel that in and keep that from being yet another defensive miscue. So it's 3-4 on the sacrifice, moving Nido to second. 1 away. 3rd sack of the year for Wheeler. Did a nice job detonating that ball.
First baseman's the one that's got to hold the runner on. So you want to bunt to the. Oh boy, you're right about that throw. Very loose.
And now Rosario trying to hold the swing, but he went around, 0-1.
We're going to have one of those nights with Mr. Hamari.
Rosario fouled out his first time up. To your point about the strike zone, Keith, there have now been 19 pitches thrown in the second inning, 7 by Wheeler, 12 by Richards. They've all been strikes.
Well,
swinging strikes, foul balls.
You've got a last
ball strikes, balls put in play.
2 second division teams.
Rosario fouls it off. Well, watch where Smith is when Castro gets this ball. I mean, there's no way he should have scored.
No, and look at Riddle. Riddle's not even not close enough to tell him. Not even looking to see where the base runner is. Now just to.
And another wide strike, and Rosario's caught looking. That's the first strikeout for Richards, the second out of the inning.
Well, if I'm in the dugout and I'm a player or a hitting coach, I'm going to say, guys, you got to swing the bat tonight. That missed.
I mean, that's further out than the one that Frazier objected to last night that wound up getting him thrown out of the game. So 2 out of the inning, and now Jeff McNeil, who poked a base hit through the open side of the infield in the first.
Playing the shift for a man that handles the bat to all fields. And there's the changeup. They just think you're going to roll over the changeup, that the changeup is that good that the hitters aren't going to be able to go with it, particularly a hitter like McNeil.
Well, I would think that over time, if McNeil was able to take advantage of these shifts the way he did his first time up tonight, that he'll see it less and less. I mean, once the analytics tell them that he's a guy who's going to spray the ball around, you would think that they would make the adjustment. But I guess 152 at bats into his big league career, they don't have enough information to do that.
Yeah, but they got enough information to put a shift on him.
Pops this one up third base side. Anderson trying to get to it, but he will not, as it lands right behind the well-used tarp. MLB.TV is now available at a lower price for $25.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game. Plus, get a free subscription to MLB at Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV to take advantage of this limited time offer. 1-2 to McNeil, with Nito at second and 2 out. 2 runs already home in the inning. And McNeil fouls off the fastball.
They're starting to challenge McNeil inside now, up and in, not down and in. You can drop that barrel. And he's a left-hand hitter. That's a traditional low ball hitter. He likes that ball down. That's 4 in a row they tried to come inside.
'25-year-old Trevor Richards, his 22nd big league start. And that's golf foul down the left side. That'll go into the crowd.
Another one inside. He fights it off, stays in the at-bat.
Michael Conforto would be next. 25 pitches in the first inning for Richards, 20 already in the second inning.
Very shallow in left field, and I agree. There's the changeup finally. Spiked it.
Real Muto stopping it.
Not an easy block here. This ball bounced in front of home plate. So you see how the ball kind of caromed off the ground to the left, which means he had like a screwball turnover, screwball changeup.
This will be the 8th pitch of the at bat from Richards to McNeil. And he threw him another changeup, and he fouls that one off. Screwball changeup. John Franco was in the building today.
Yes.
As were many Met notables. it was a special afternoon.
Yes.
Honoring Jay Horowitz in his new role. We'll talk more about that in a bit. 3-2 coming, and that's laced to the gap in right center field, and that ball's going to go all the way back to the wall. Nino's in to score. McNeil's going to turn second and try for 3, and he will make it. An RBI triple for Jeff McNeil makes it 3-0 New York. Tremendous turn at bat for McNeil, his 5th triple. After an 0 for last night, he comes back with 2 hits, his first 2 at bats tonight.
Very impressive at bat. Fought off his inside fastballs, then he gets a mistake fastball out over the middle and makes him pay. Wants to come inside. Look at this. Missed. And guess what? You pay the fiddler.
And while they had him played to pull on the infield, they had him played to the opposite field in the outfield. So a ball that hit almost to dead center wound up going up the gap into the wall. So 3 runs are home. 2 of them will be unearned as the result of the error on Anderson. Richards has gotten a visit from his pitching coach Juan Nieves before he faces Michael Conforto. Remember that Richards was knocked out in the 2nd inning in his last start against the Phillies, and here he is encountering 2nd inning trouble tonight, and the Marlins bullpen is going to get cranked up. Conforto nubs 1 foul, 0-1. Michael grounded out to the right side his first time up. Mets are facing a rookie pitcher tonight, and Conforto has done particularly well against rookies this year. He's hitting .337 against rookie pitchers. Check swing tapper, and Richards able to go down to get it, and that retires the side, but an error helps the Mets to 3 runs in the 2nd. Of alumni relations, and everybody who is anybody in Mets history and Mets present was there today. John Franco, Darryl Strawberry, Doc Gooden, and on and on and on. And just gave you an indication of just how important Jay has been, not only to this franchise, but to the players, managers, executives, broadcasters, writers, everybody who's been connected with this team. He's a beloved figure, and I think it's going to be a perfect new role for Jay, organizing the alumni in a way that's never been done before. JT Riddle has the first hit of the game against Zach Wheeler, and the Marlins have the leadoff man on in the 3rd.
Well, I've known Jay since before my Met tenure. I mean, you knew when the Mets came to town. I was a Cardinal. You know, Jay was always around, but fortunately, one of the blessings is I got traded to the Mets and Jay is a friendship that will last forever. A simple twist of fate.
Here's Magneri's Sierra. Speedster at the plate, so the corners pinch in, and he takes ball one. Well, Jay has played such a special role because, you know, he's been the guy who has been the liaison between the players and the media, but he's been so much more than that. He's been a confidant, he's been a travel agent, he's been a concierge, he's been a best friend, a counselor. As Sierra flies one out to right, and Bruce coming toward the line is there to get it one out. And he told several stories along the way, some of which we can put on the air, some of which we can't. One was about you, Keith.
First involves my friend Keith. When we traded for Keith in June of '83, we read in the papers Keith didn't want to come to New York. I was going to be the good guy. I was going to get a big white limousine to pick him up at the airport. We were in Montreal. Unfortunately, I went to the wrong gate. Keith took a cab. I took the limo back to the hotel.
That's a true story. It was Maribel, which was the international airport, which is around a 45-minute drive, maybe 50 minutes to downtown Montreal and Stade Olympique, and we would have gone right straight to the ballpark. So I think in all, it worked out okay because I was not in a very good mood. Obviously Jay expressed that I wasn't happy coming to a last place team, especially from the year before he won the world championship. And the Cardinals at that point when I was traded, we were in first place. I don't think I would have been good company for Jay. So it worked out fine. And, you know, I'm just very, very, very happy for Jay. Because let me tell you, Jay bleeds Met orange and blue. That's his life. He's a Met fan. He's married to the Mets, and he's a dedicated employee, terrific guy. You know, in the 80s, Gary, we had so much. We've had a great 8-9 year run, and there was a lot of demands on us, a lot of media, and we didn't have the big clubhouse. And Jay really ran that clubhouse as far as the media was concerned in relations with us, and did a terrific job.
Richards gets the bunt down. Smith puts on the tag. Sacrifice 3 unassisted, moving Riddle to second. Well, is Jay getting doused when the Mets clinched in 2016.
Oh, he got the champagne in the eyes.
Yeah, well, it stings.
It's the best.
That's why people wear goggles these days. You know, the interesting thing about the press conference today is, number one, there are very few figures in Mets history who would have brought out the kind of turnout that Jay commanded today. I mean, it was everybody from the front office, players from the current team, former players, managers, executives, other media relations people from around baseball and other sports. It was a monumental turnout, and he deserved every bit of that.
That's one positive. Yes, our drive home will be a breeze. They call me the breeze, you know.
Jacob deGrom not even showing a bit of envy for the Mets, having scored 3 runs for Zach Wheeler. 3 runs. Think what Jake could do with 3 runs every time he starts.
Oh, no fooling.
I mean, he hasn't given up more than 3 runs in 26 straight starts. By the way, there's fog now moving into the ballpark. Just thought you'd like to know. Jay Bruce leads off in the home third. Bruce drew a walk his first time up. And Richards misses with the first pitch curveball for ball 1. Bruce, Nimmo, and Smith. There you see the fog starting to descend. It has been so humid over the last couple of days. Bruce sucks one out to center, and Rinson drifts over and puts it away for the first out. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Well, Gary, today the Mets presented their organizational Sterling Awards, and the Sterling Pitcher of the Year is standing with me right now. Mets first-round pick from 2016, Justin Dunn. Appreciate you hanging through that rain delay, and I know that this was not really the reason you stayed, but we'll just go with it right now. You know, you had an incredible season this year. What for you was the biggest difference from last season to this season for you?
Yeah, I mean, I got back to understanding who I was as a pitcher, and that's being an athlete. I got back to understanding how my body was supposed to move in the course of my delivery, and when I understood that, I was more repeatable, and the command came back, and my arm was in better positions, and the stuff got better with that.
The changeup in particular, I know a lot of people in the organization are excited about how that pitch has come along for you. What did you particularly do with that pitch to get it to where it is right now?
I went back to my college grip, the one that I was starting to pick up that helped me when I became a starter in college. And then the biggest thing was trust. I started to believe in it. Having Nito back there, he called it a lot. When he left, Mazika kind of forced it upon me also, so I started throwing it more and more. And then the biggest thing was John Franco and Frank. I had them behind me one day in a bullpen, and they tweaked a couple things and took the velocity off of it and added a little bit more movement, so that was really big.
What is that like for you? I know you grew up in the area. You're from Freeport, Long Island, so you know, obviously you have Frank there, but to have John Franco there as well, kind of tutoring you along, what is that like for a kid that's been local?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, to have 2 of arguably the biggest names in Mets history, and then 2 of arguably the best changeups in baseball history, teaching you the pitch that I think is the separator that will get me here quicker, was undescribable.
I know you also had a really cool moment yesterday when you were pitching to David Wright during a simulated game, another guy that you grew up watching and idolizing. What did he say to you after that experience?
Nothing. He said the changeup was a pretty good pitch, so I guess the hard work's paying off.
What was that like to just be out there on Citi Field pitching to David Wright?
It was great. I mean, that was the first time I've ever played in Citi Field. They started a high school tournament here after my last year of high school, so I missed it by a year. And then to go out and face David in his park where he's the captain, it was a great moment.
All right, well, Justin, enjoy the offseason here. Congrats on a great year, and I'm sure we'll see you soon enough.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, Gary, back to you.
All right, Fourth inning, Starlin Castro leads off and takes curveball for a strike from Zach Wheeler, who has been doing nothing but dealing strikes early in this game. 10 batters faced, 25 pitches.
All these young kids are still with it. I love it. By the way, just notice that what Ronnie calls that get me over first pitch curve to Castro. That is something that Zach now has learned to throw.
We've seen DeGrom do it a lot. We've seen Syndergaard do it occasionally.
So much progress with Zach. It's just it's been fun to watch this transformation.
JT Realmuto on deck, and then Brian Anderson for the Marlins in the fourth. Castro grounded out his first time up. First time he and Nito have not been on the same page.
Curve.
And he bounces it. 2-2 to Castro. See a little mist and fog sailing by. On the outside corner, got him looking at a fastball. Boy, you don't want to take anything that's close on the corner.
I think that had the corner. That was some paint. Just really. That's a strike. That's just a good pitch. Knee high outside corner. Not a complaint from Castro. He knew it.
Second strikeout for Wheeler. One out in the fourth, and now Realmuto flied out his first time up. If you're just swinging your dial by and finding us, we had a 5-hour and 35-minute rain delay past the scheduled start time for what was originally going to be a doubleheader tonight. We're only going to play one game tonight, 2 games tomorrow, starting at 3:10 p.m. And back-to-back curveballs and back-to-back strikes for Wheeler. At that time doubling up on the first pitch curve.
I don't think I've ever seen him double up for strikes. Fantastic.
And he dents the outside corner, and Realmuto is dead meat. 2 out. That was quite a sequence right there.
That was 1, 2, 3. Go sit down.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Brian Anderson, who grounded out his first time up. Marlins have had just 1 base runner so far. JT Riddle led off the third with a base hit to center field. And Wheeler locked in a terrific groove early in this game, doing the most with a minimum number of pitches. As the fog keeps getting lower. Curveball popped up into shallow right. McNeil out, Bruce in to call, and Bruce puts it away, and that retires the side. Another 1-2-3 inning for Wheeler. He's thrown just 34 pitches through 4 innings, and he's got a 3-0 lead at Citi Field. Home fourth inning, Jose Reyes leads off against Trevor Richards. And he takes a changeup for a strike. Reyes short hopped the center field fence with a double his first time up to drive in the first run in this game. Mets scored all 3 of their runs in the second. The last 2 were unearned. And the changeup nubbed off the end of the bat, 1-2. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Ole. And Reyes fouls it away. Reyes, Nito, and Wheeler 7, 8, and 9 in the order for the Mets in the fourth. So the Mets have not announced their pitching plans for tomorrow, but it'll be some combination of Jason Vargas and Steven Matz. That's lined into right field, and Reyes has his second hit of the night. So Jose is 2 for 2, and the Mets have their 5th hit against Richards.
Well, Jose off to a nice start.
So now Nito, who hit the ground ball that went by Anderson for an error and led to a couple of unearned runs in the second. So Vargas was supposed to pitch the second game of the doubleheader tonight. I don't know if that means he gets the first game tomorrow or whether he'll stay in that second game role.
Who are the 2 pitchers scheduled?
Vargas and Matz. Matz was the originally scheduled pitcher for tomorrow, and Vargas was supposed to go tonight in the second game. So I'm wondering, do they keep him in the second game and put Matz in the first? Do they put him in the first game? Because I know that, you know, our booth mechanics are changing from tonight's doubleheader to tomorrow's doubleheader.
That's right. Ronnie's got the first game tomorrow. I have the second.
Now today it was, you were supposed to have the first game, and Ronnie was supposed to go in the second game, which, you know, meant that Ronnie wound up going home as Nito drives one to center field, and Brinson's got it for the first out. So why in the world?
Go ahead.
Is this Passover? Why in the world did we switch the alignment?
I know why. Ronnie is taking the train to Boston.
Right.
On the day of the game, and I'm flying with the team.
So you're going to do the night game so you can go with the team.
I go with the team.
Ronnie goes home.
Go home
and
with it, see his
then
kid.
He gets on the train in the morning.
Ronnie was the good teammate for me, that I have the longer drive home. That's why I asked him, can I do the first game today so I can get home at a decent hour, and you only got to go back to Manhattan, and he agreed to that. So it's just a reciprocal.
I see. I'm glad you guys could work that out. You're such good teammates.
You never came into the conversation because we know that you're doing both of them.
Could we make the change in there somewhere? No, I'm very happy to be there to accommodate both of you in whatever games you happen to show up for. Wheeler sacrificed his first time, not being asked to bunt this time, and he bounces one foul. Biggest challenge, of course, with the doubleheader now scheduled for 3 o'clock tomorrow is getting home, getting packed for a 10-game road trip.
Oh, but for me, I haven't got Philadelphia, so I only pack for Boston, so it's an easy pack for me tomorrow. 3 days.
And that was close as Reyes went back in standing.
That'll take me. We're wearing coat and ties, correct?
You should be.
I'll wear a standard blazer. Only bring in 1 coat. Heck with it. All I need is 3 shirts. Gary, I can probably get away with 2 pair of pants. Wear 1 pair of pants twice.
So you're planning to wear the same blazer all 3 games in Boston?
Oh, yes.
What happens if you spill something?
Well, I won't.
Reyes runs and Wheeler fouls it off. I mean, seriously, what if you're eating a hot dog and I know you like ketchup on your hot dogs. What if the ketchup squirts out on your blazer? I won't
eat with the blazer. You got to worry about the shirt.
Right. Well, you'll have multiple shirts, so I'm not concerned about that.
3. I can wear, I can wear a shirt twice too,
Right.
No, there's no law against that.
I'm not concerned about the shirts. I'm stuck on the blazer, and the one blazer for 3 days. I don't want you to have to go shopping in Boston. You know, things might not be open on the weekend, you know, to get you accommodated.
It'll work out. It'll work out fine.
Okay. Looking after your best interests. Reyes with a huge lead at first, and he's running again, and Wheeler pulls a base hit into right field. Reyes will continue on to third. So Wheeler with a nice at bat produces his 9th hit of the year, and the Mets have runners at the corners with 1 out.
Well, the Mets starting pitching, they all can swing the bat. They're all a threat. Matz, Vargas, Syndergaard, DeGrom. They're not easy outs.
So runners at the corners for Rosario, looking for his first hit in this series. 0 for 2 tonight, 0 for 7 in the 2 games.
What's going on here?
Real Muto wants to signal to the infield about what to do. Wheeler takes off, which seems like an unlikely prospect.
I would think that would not be happening. Of course, they're looking for the try to double steal, but not with a pitcher.
And Rosario unloads deep to left. Forget that. That is way out of here. Into the second deck. Ahmed Rosario with a titanic 3-run homer. His 8th home run of the year, and it's 6-0 New York.
That was a clout.
I think that's
Frank, our cameraman, came up with the ball.
it was worth the wait, Frank. Well, I think this is the biggest blast I've seen Rosario hit all year. It's all career, and no doubt about that.
And now McNeil follows with a fly ball to right. This one will stay in the ballpark, and Sierra is there to get it for the 2nd out.
Down fastball, middle, and he's all over it.
Nice grab, Frank.
Frank, very impressive.
What's he doing there without his camera?
Oh, Frank's second string tonight. Is either
He's the super utility player.
He's a bench player tonight.
You can put Frank anywhere.
I don't think Frank's complaining. He looks tired. He's a rest.
Conforto nubs one foul.
It's been a long year for the cameraman too. A long night. These guys are out there.
That Mets home run means City will donate enough for No Kid Hunger to provide 20,000 meals to kids in need. For Rosario, his 8th home run, first one he's hit with men on base. The other 7 all were solo shots. This one a 3-run potato to make it 6-0. Conforto's 0 for 2 tonight. He's grounded out twice. I hate to even say this. This is not yet an official game. Conforto pulls another one into the shift, and Castro handles this one to retire the side. But Rosario's 3-run homer doubles the Mets' pleasure. 6-0 New York after 4. after the Reds beat them 6 straight times as they won 8-1 after Ross Stripling came back from the DL and got taken out in the 4th. Blake Snell was tremendous for Tampa Bay today, allowed just 1 hit and the win over Cleveland. Snell now 19-5, 2.03 ERA. Derek Dietrich leads off in the top of the 5th against Zach Wheeler. Now has a 6-0 lead, and Dietrich grounds the first pitch down to Smith. 1 pitch and 1 out for Wheeler, who continues to be economical. That's 13 outs with just 36 pitches. Wheeler threw 35 pitches in the first 4 innings. 5 times in a career he threw more pitches than that in a single inning. So gives you an idea how impressive his performance has been tonight. Here's Lewis Brinson, who lined out to center field his first time up. The big game in the National League Central has gone to the 9th. The Brewers and Cubs. Milwaukee 2 games behind Chicago, leading the Cubs 2-1 as they play in the 9th now at Wrigley. Speed pitch misses, and it's 2-0 to Brinson.
That would get Milwaukee back to 1 game behind the Cubs. That's turned into quite a battle.
Rare time Wheeler's been behind tonight, and he throws a 2-0 curveball and misses, and now it's 3-0. And home plate umpire Adam Hamari getting a little heat from the Mets dugout and turning and yelling something. That's on the corner, 3-1.
I just kind of question the 2-0. You got a 6-0 lead in the 5th. 2-0 count. Poor fastball in there.
Brinson lines one the other way that goes foul. The Marlins have their bullpen cranking. Ben Meyer is up with the pitcher's spot 3 batters away. There's Meyer. The other big game tonight in the National League is out west. The Diamondbacks and the Rockies. Arizona won last night to get back within 2.5 of Colorado, and the Diamondbacks lead 4-3 in the 7th tonight. 3-2 coming, and Brinson takes strike 3 call. Knee high outside corner. Brinson an unhappy customer. 4th strikeout for Wheeler, who came back from 3-0 to get him.
If I was the Mets, I would not be moaning and groaning at Adam Hamari. 6-0 lead. Anything close is going to be a strike.
4 strikeouts. 3 of the 4 have been on call 3rd strike, so pattern got set early in this game. Now JT Riddle has been the only base runner for Miami tonight. A leadoff single in the 3rd, and a first pitch curve sits high for ball 1. And again, he throws 2 curveballs in a row to start at bat.
He likes his curve tonight, and that's a good sign. He's got a good feel for it. And it's a good one.
Wheeler's last start a week ago in Los Angeles allowed just 3 hits in 7 innings. 2 of those were home runs, but the Mets were scoring that night, and he got a victory. Fly ball into center field, and Nimmo camps under it. Side retired. That's 9 in a row retired by Wheeler. We've got an official game halfway through. 6-0 Mets. bunch of Mets sitting with a bunch of fans. Jay Bruce leads off the home 5th inning and takes a changeup low and away from Trevor Richards. Bruce has walked and flied to center 0 for 2. Mets scored 3 in the second. Got a 3-run homer from Ahmed Rosario in the 4th. And now Bruce gets under one to right. And Sierra comes in and puts it away, 1 out. Purchase your 2019 Mets season ticket package today. Choose from full season, half season, or 20-game plans that include opening day and the Subway Series. Plus, for a limited time, receive an authentic or replica Mets jersey with your purchase. Purchase your plan today at Mets.com/ticket plans. 1 out and nobody on. Now Brandon Nimmo has been out twice, grounded to first base both times, and he nubs that one foul on the changeup. 0-1. Nimmo started the night with the 4th best on-base percentage in the National League. He was at .394 when the night began, 1 point down from that. Been able to keep that on-base percentage consistently high all year. He also began the night with a slugging percentage over 500, so his OPS is bubbling just under 900, which is an elite level.
There's a rare breaking ball.
Your Spectrum high-speed pitch. It's Wheeler.
Oh, well, we knew that. So Richards just finally threw a breaking ball. You can't just be a 2-pitch pitcher and be successful in the major leagues.
Goes right back to his changeup and gets a swinging strike. 2-2. So Richards, who gave up 6 runs in an inning and a third his last start against the Phillies, 6 runs in 4 1/3 so far tonight. And Nimmo hits one out to right field, coming toward the line. Sierra with great speed and gets there for the 2nd out. That kid can just flat out fly.
Can he hit? That's the key.
Yep. So far, he has not. He's the guy that Marlins got in the Marcell Ozuna trade from the Cardinals last winter. Sierra, just 22 years old. A nice start for the Cardinals last year, but has not hit at the big league level, at least not yet with Miami. Here's Dom Smith, who has a double in 2 trips, and he takes a curveball for a strike. Trevor Richards probably in his last inning with his spot due up in the 6th. Earlier today, Oakland shut out Baltimore 10-0, and the Twins have just beat the Yankees for the 2nd straight night 3-1. So Oakland is now just 1 game behind the Yankees for that first wild card spot. The Yankees had just 2 hits tonight. Jake Odorizzi held them hitless for the first 7 1/3 before Greg Bird broke it up with an 8th inning double. So the A's have won 6 straight. They're 34-15 since the All-Star break. Strike 3 called. Smith out on strikes, and Richards has a 1-2-3 bottom of the 5th. That's his 2nd strikeout. Still 6-0 New York. Sixth inning, Zach Wheeler pitching to Magneri Sierra, who fouls one away on the bunt attempt. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Old Dominion Freight Line, official freight carrier of MLB. Visit odfl.com for more information. Sierra bounces one foul on the curveball, 1-2. Chris Bostic is out on deck to pinch hit for the Marlins. With the pitcher's spot due up next. 1-2 to Sierra. And the splitter misses low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Zach threw just 46 pitches in the first 5 innings of this game. Allowed just 1 base runner. Now he's run a full count to Sierra to start the 6th. 8-1 with a 1.86 ERA over his last 10 starts. He has been simply brilliant and getting better and better as this year has progressed. 3-2, and Sierra lifts one toward the left field line. Conforto eases over. 1 out. Hey, parents, your child can join us in the booth to call half an inning of a Mets game on SNY. Just go to sny.tv/KidCaster and enter your child's video audition for a chance to win the 2018 SNY KidCaster contest.
That's always fun.
It is fun. It's always great to have the kids in the booth.
Yes.
And they always come so prepared and enthusiastic. It's a really wonderful
thing. It is.
Chris Bostic, Rochester, New York native, takes a curveball for a strike. Bostic's had some brief big league time with the Pirates. He's picked up in a trade in mid-August by the Marlins. And Wheeler quickly ahead of him, 0-2. Bostic, a 44th round draft pick who made it to the big league. So tonight we've seen for the Marlins Trevor Richards, who was a non-drafted free agent who went through independent ball, and now Bostic, who was a 44th round draft pick. And Wheeler takes care of him with a high fastball. 5 strikeouts for Zach, who's retired 11 in a row. We check in with Doug Williams in the studio for a game break, brought to you by your Tri Honda dealers. And an Arizona win would not only lift the Diamondbacks, would also lift the Dodgers back to within a half game after they won earlier today. Here's Rafael Ortega for the 3rd time, and he takes a first pitch curve for a strike.
I have not seen Zach pour so many curveballs in there, and good ones.
Ortega's popped up and grounded out. And he lifts this one to left. Another chance for Conforto. And that retires the side. And Wheeler, making it look easy, has retired 12 in a row. He's got 6 scoreless innings under his belt and a 6-0 lead. rookie right-hander Ben Meyer comes on to pitch in the bottom of the 6th for Miami.
29th round in the 2015 first-year player draft. Started the season when AAA, and you can see right away you look at the walks, and that's way too many. Left-handers, well, actually everybody's having a good time with him. 19 hits in 17 innings. I should be kinder.
Jose Reyes has already had a good time tonight. A single and a double. He's scored 2. He's driven in 1. Reyes, Nido, and Wheeler for the Mets in the bottom of the 6th. Trevor Richards went 5 innings, allowed 6 runs, 4 of them earned on 7 hits. Walked only 1, struck out 2, allowed a home run, and leaves trailing 6-0. Meyer out of the University of Minnesota. Grew up in Minnesota, so you always have to take the early results from those cold weather pitchers with a grain of salt, as Reyes takes a call 3rd strike and moans about it to Adam Hamari, who's had a big strike zone all night. It should not be news to anybody at this point. And Hamari says that's enough, and Reyes goes away angry.
Well, Hamari handled it well, and he's had a big strike zone. But here's the gripe here is, if you're a hitter, Garrett, it's tough to hit that pitch when it's in on your hands like that, crowding you. If it's the same pitch on the outside part of the outside corner, that far outside, you got a chance to hit that. You can reach for it. But when it's that far inside, it's tough to have a successful contact.
Nido hits one sharply on the ground. Castro under his glove and into right field.
Well, Castro kind of lottie-dotted there. He just a bit lazy after that. Didn't bend over for it.
Well, the 5.5-hour rain delay has not been conducive to good Marlins defense tonight.
They give a base hit on that?
I don't believe they've scored it yet, but we'll wait.
That's a home book hit in my book. If I'm the scorekeeper. I know you're not supposed to be partial.
And it will be a base hit. Howie Carpenter is a tough grader. Agrees with you. So Nido has his first hit of the night, and the Mets 8th. And now Wheeler, who has a sacrifice and a base hit already tonight, his 9th hit of the year. And he bounces one over the head of Anderson and down the line for another base hit. Nido will pull in at 2nd. So Wheeler has his 2nd hit of the night. A little Baltimore chop over the 3rd baseman's head.
Well, you would think that with the rain that the ground wouldn't be hard where you get a hop this high, but indeed it did. They had the tarp on the field all day.
So 2 on and 1 out, and now Rosario, who came up with 2 men on his last time up, got a first pitch changeup and tattooed it into the 2nd deck in left field for his 8th home run of the year. And that one pops out of the mid of Realmuto, and that'll move the runners up. Just a fastball the Realmuto didn't catch, and that'll be a pass ball, and he's going out as though he was crossed up.
That's they had to get crossed up. Yep, no question.
He was waiting for a slider and got a fastball. So it has not been a pretty night in the field for the Miami Marlins. And now the infield has to come in with 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. Grounded to short, the runners will hold as Riddle throws out Rosario for the 2nd out.
Nice play by Riddle. I know it's a routine ground ball, but it's a hard hit ground ball, and it wasn't the short hop. With the infield in, he had to field an in-between hop. He stayed in front and used 2 hands. Watch him get in front. Very nice play. Two hands.
So 2 out, and it's left to Jeff McNeil, who already has 2 hits tonight, a single and a triple. He's driven in a run. The infield can drop back, and again they're in the shift against McNeil, and he pulls one just foul. 0-1.
Nicely played on the carom there by the ball boy down there.
McNeil with his 2 hits tonight as his batting average up to .338.
Giving him that left side again, Gare.
When he got the base hit his first time up, they had the third baseman over in the shortstop position. This time they keep the third baseman home with a runner at third, and he drives one into right for a base hit. Nito scores, and Wheeler will be held at third as Sierra gets it in. I don't just think that was a matter of Glenn Sherlock not wanting to take any chances with Wheeler. He could have probably scored, but held him up just to be safe. Third hit of the night for McNeil makes it 7-0.
Well, he's really getting the bat on the ball. You see the ball Miyamoto set up inside, and boy, they've made 2 mistakes on McNeil, and he has got a triple and a single on it.
Well, that's the third 3-hit game in the last 4 games for Jeff McNeil. Now Conforto, as the Mets have poured it on. 6 runs against Trevor Richards, and now they add another against Ben Meyer. Conforto's 0 for 3, 3 ground ball outs. And he takes a strike, 1-1. Conforto with home runs in each of his prior 3 games. First 3-game home run streak since Yoenis Cespedes last year for the Mets. Last 4-game home run streak belongs to Curtis Granderson. That was 2 years ago. The only Met to homer in 5 straight games was Richard Hidalgo, who set the club record back in 2003. And now a quick message from Citi.
Think fast. What?
Oddity tonight in that the Mets 3, 4, and 5 hitters are 0 for 8, yet the Mets have 7 runs and 10 hits. And Meyer can't get his changeup near the plate. It's 3-2. So that'll be an automatic start for McNeil at first base. Jay Bruce on deck. 3-2 to Conforto, and he takes it up high for ball 4, and the Mets have the bases loaded for Bruce. So after giving up 3 hits, Meyer allows a walk as well. And now Bruce with a chance to add to the damage. Jay has gone 0 for 2 with a walk tonight, 2 fly ball outs. Meyer misses high for ball 1. Wheeler at third, McNeil at second, Conforto at first with 2 down. Full shift on against Bruce. And Jay swings at a fastball and misses, 1-1. Ben Meyer in a mess, just his 12th big league game. Not a guy who strikes people out. But he gets ahead on Bruce, 1-2.
Boy, a lot of pitches down the pipe.
1-2 coming. And he misses low and in. 2-2. They've gone to the bottom of the 9th in Chicago. Brewers 5, Cubs 1. If that stands up, the Brewers will be just a game back in the Central. The Cardinals lost to the Pirates today, so they would stay 3.5 back. And Bruce lifts one to left, pretty well hit. Ortega, though, should have room, I think, near the wall, and he made the catch.
Oh.
Or did it hit off the fence first? I think they're saying it's a grand slam. The third base umpire, Dan Bellino, said that he played the carom off the back fence, and it's a grand slam for Jay Bruce. Nice deke by Ortega, who had that ball land in his mitt somehow. But Bruce gets credit for his 7th home run. Let's watch. And a good call by Bellino. It went off the M&M sign, over the orange line. It is indeed a grand slam. And the Mets now have an 11-0 lead. Ortega was shocked to find that ball in his glove. Tried to sell it as best he could. The umpires are going to have to go and check it out, I think. Or are they just going to let the call stand?
I think
they know that it's a grand slam, and I think Don Mattingly knows it's a grand slam.
And the one guy that doesn't know is the guy on the phones. He needs to go back inside.
And you can see it, you can hear it. It went off the blue sign. It is a grand slam, the 2nd of the season for Bruce and the 7th of his major league career. So Bruce, who had just 3 home runs before going on the disabled list, now has 4 since coming back over 16 games. And the Mets have completely blown the doors off this game, and Jacob deGrom can only wonder how he can possibly figure out a way to pitch on the right day. One to Nimmo has gone 0 for 3 tonight. So the Mets with a 5 spot in this 6th inning.
Contact on the ball away. Can't do it any better than that.
Dietrich has that ball go under his glove, but Nimmo's got a base hit. And thus the inning continues. 5th hit of the inning against Ben Meyer. And Nimmo's first hit of the night.
Under the glove of Dietrich.
One thing the Mets have done very well this year is hit with the bases loaded. That Jay Bruce grand slam was the 8th for the Mets this year. Came into the night hitting .272 as a team with the bases loaded, far better than their overall numbers. You can make of that what you will.
They just played our song there.
What's that?
You talk too much.
I'll stop.
That's our song. It was made for both of us.
Let's see.
I always liked that song. You remember that song, don't you?
I certainly do. I'll take it to heart.
Al, I'm bad. No.
Al's saying that his pictures are more important than our words. I believe that was what he was trying to get across. Dominic Smith, the 9th man up in the inning.
Oh.
Dom had a double and scored a run in the 2nd. Since then, he's flied out and struck out. Well, the Mets waited a long time to start this game, but they've made it worthwhile.
Oh boy, Myers just really trying to just get out of this inning. Needs an out. His 9th batter up. He just almost sidearm, and it's not even getting any sink. It's just running flat.
Marlins will get another pitcher going. Javi Guerra is up in the bullpen. 2-2 to Smith, and he gets a hold of one to deep right center. Sierra near the wall, and that's out of here. Dominic Smith adds a 2-run homer. His 4th home run of the season.
And the Mets are pouring it on. A 7-run 6th inning. It's now 13-0.
Wow.
So Dom Smith getting a chance to play and getting a chance to produce a double and a 2-run homer tonight.
Well, another fastball up in the strike zone. Dom gets on top. You know, he hits it in the air.
Now Reyes, who led off the inning by taking a call 3rd strike.
This will split the plate right down the Broadway and up. Still got to hit it.
And he did.
Wow.
So 3 home runs for the Mets tonight, all with runners on base. Rosario a 3-run homer, Bruce a grand slam, and now Smith a 2-run shot. Every Met player in the lineup has scored a run tonight, all 9. And Meyer going through a nightmare of an inning.
Yep. Find your way out of this one.
39th pitch of the inning, and the breaking ball sits high, and it's 3-2 to Reyes.
Well, they're tattooing his fastball.
And that's ball 4. He missed terribly with a fastball on 3-2, and that's the 2nd walk. And the 40th pitch thrown by Meyer, and Javi Juan Nieves, the pitching coach, on the phone to see if Javi Gary is ready.
Mattingly is coming out.
And that's enough for Ben Meyer.
Mercifully.
2/3 of an inning, 7 runs allowed by the rookie right-hander. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. 13-0 New York. We'll be right back. Veteran right-hander Javi Guerra comes on to pitch for the Marlins. He'll face Tomas Nido with the man on. Let's check in with Steve.
Well, Gary, we noticed when Tomas Nido came back up that he's got a really funky new setup at the plate where he gets that front leg bent out in front, and it's actually not something new. He said he's used it in the past. It's where he feels the most comfortable when he's hitting, and the reason is he says that forces his front side to stay in when he bends that front leg. When he stands more upright or more traditionally, he has a tendency to fly open at the plate, and right now when he's feeling good, this is what works for him.
So what looks the most uncomfortable feels the most comfortable.
Why would you change? What got you to the show? Why would you change your stance?
Well, maybe someone encouraged him to change along the way. That happens in the minor leagues sometimes.
Maybe sometimes you need to get some cotton balls and put them in your ears.
And what does that do?
You can't hear.
What? Needed with a base hit to get this 7-run inning started for the Mets. And he goes down swinging to end the inning. 11 men came to bat, and 7 of them score. Grand slam by Bruce, the highlight. It's 13-0 New York. So the Brewers just a game behind the Cubs now. Changes for the Mets. Jay Bruce comes out after hitting the grand slam. Jack Reinheimer will play left. Michael Conforto moves over to play right. No change on the mound where Zach Wheeler has been brilliant so far tonight. He's thrown 6 scoreless innings, allowed just 1 hit, the only base runner, a JT Riddle single leading off the 3rd. And he's thrown just 57 pitches. By contrast, the Marlins through 6 innings have thrown 133 pitches. Starlin Castro leads off and takes a strike. Castro's 0 for 2. He's grounded out and struck out. Brian Holiday, the backup catcher, is on deck to bat for JT Realmuto, as both teams will take some starting players out now in a lopsided game with a doubleheader due tomorrow. If you're just joining us, this was supposed to be a doubleheader, but with the game delayed over 5.5 hours by rain, they'll play just 1 tonight and 2 tomorrow. That's poked over the bag. A base hit for Castro rolling into right. They'll stop at first as Conforto gets to it. Just the 2nd Miami hit after Wheeler had retired 12 in a row.
Little inside out here. Good fastball inside, and sometimes, you know, those good hitters, they do that to you. You tip your hat.
1,436 hits in Castro's career. So now Holiday will bat for Realmuto. Holiday had some big hits against the Mets earlier this season, and he fouls off a first pitch fastball, 0-1. Holiday hitting just .201 on the year, but far better than that against the Mets. He's hitting .417 against the Mets. That's better than .201, right?
Yes. Significantly.
Yes, indeed. And the curveball drops in for a strike, 1-2. I would bet by the end of this night, Wheeler will have the highest percentage of curveballs thrown in any start he's ever made. Brian Anderson on deck.
Throwing them for a strike. And not just la-di-da curveballs, good ones.
Late swing foul.
And guys, just to your point about Zach Wheeler, for the season he averages around 10% curveballs per game. Tonight it's double that. He's averaging about 20%, or not averaging, he's throwing 20% curveballs tonight.
And he strikes out Holiday with a fastball, his 6th strikeout. And that's the first out of the 7th.
Wow, that was a overmatch right there. And you got that blazing fastball. That is just electric.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Anderson. By the way, I thought that was very impressive. That Steve was right on the ball.
I thought, yeah.
With that curveball percentage for the night.
I see him down there too.
What rain delay?
I'm glad that because of your youth, Steve, relative to the rest of our unit here, that you're able to keep your sharpness over many hours.
I could do the doubleheader right now. I say let's play 2.
Oh, he's the second coming of Ernie Banks.
You know, it would not be unprecedented to start a second game of a doubleheader at a late hour. Back in 1993, the Padres and Phillies played a doubleheader at Old Veterans Stadium. They had a lot of rain delays in the first game, which ended about 1:30 in the morning. And I believe that Bruce Fleming was the crew chief that night. I have to look that up. But got together with the 2 managers and said, what do you want to do? And they said, well, we're here, let's play. And they did. And the second game of the doubleheader went 10 innings and ended at 4:40 in the morning. Oh. It's the latest ending game in Major League history. And the Phillies swept the doubleheader. They wound up winning the National League Championship that year and going to the World Series.
What year was that?
93. That was that Lenny Dykstra, Darren Dalton.
Was that Fregosi managing then? Was it Jim that managed that team in 93?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kurt Schilling was their ace. That's hit toward the hole, a base hit for Anderson. Castro pulls it at second.
Of course, Met fans know all about Jim Fregosi, the all-star shortstop for the California Angels, who was traded for Nolan Ryan.
Nolan Ryan and 3 others.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not on the list of greatest trades the Mets have ever made. So 2 on and 1 out. Now Derek Dietrich, who struck out and grounded out 0 for 2. A late swing on a high fastball, 0-1.
For a guy like Wheeler, anybody that throws hard, you got to make him get the ball down. Upstairs, they're very tough to catch up to.
As long as we're talking about rain delay history, I should also mention that the 5.5-hour rain delay, I don't know where it stands in Met annals, but it is not the longest rain delay in big league history. If you'll remember, the last day of the 1999 season, when the Mets beat the Pirates to keep their postseason hopes alive, they then had to wait to see if Cincinnati would win their last game and force a 1-game playoff. The Reds playing in Milwaukee at County Stadium to finish the season, and they had a rain delay of over 7 hours before they played that game, and the Mets had to wait around. They actually wound up flying to Cincinnati for the 1-game playoff without even knowing if they'd play the game. They took off before the Cincinnati-Milwaukee game was finished so they could get there and get a good night's sleep. And if the Reds won, they'd play the next day. And if the Reds lost, they'd just fly out to Arizona to start the division series. As it turned out, Cincinnati won the game and Mets beat them the next day in that one-game playoff. But that rain delay was over 7 hours. Dietrich pops one up in foul ground, and Nito back to the on-deck circle, but can't make the basket catch. And the at-bat continues. And they will charge an error on Nito for prolonging the time at bat.
Well, tough chance here. The ball's not that high. And he's got to negotiate the wall. He probably makes that play 9 out of 10 times.
So Wheeler will have to continue with Dietrich with 2 on and 1 out. And Dietrich lines one into right field for a base hit. Castro held up. He'll go to third and stop there. So given a second chance, Dietrich picks up the third Marlins hit of the inning to load him up. So that puts Wheeler's shutout bid in jeopardy. It'll bring Dave Island out for a conversation.
Got that ball out over the plate enough for Dietrich to get enough barrel on it.
Wheeler cruised through the first 6, but a long bottom of the 6th inning that featured Wheeler getting a hit, scoring a run, and he's come out for the 7th and given up 3 hits. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
Look at that play, Frank.
Always use 2 hands. Oh, now he's working. See, he was off before. He was waiting for an assignment, and now Frank is otherwise occupied. I don't think he can catch a foul ball in that position.
I think he's watching a video game.
Well, Tony is. Tony's getting a break, and Frank is taking his spot. There you go. Swing and a miss by Lewis Brinson on a first pitch splitter by Wheeler. A little different game plan there.
Brinson got the big hit off of DeGrom in last night's game. The big 2-run double in the 4th.
Grounds one down to third, might be 2. Reyes to second, and McNeil to first, and they double up the speedy Brinson to retire the side. So the Mets get around 3 hits and an error and keep the Marlins off the board.
Changes for the Marlins. Brian Holiday, who pinch hit, stays in behind the plate. Peter O'Brien goes in to play first base. Yadiel Rivera comes in to play second. Derek Dietrich moves from first base to third base. Now you're up to date. Zach Wheeler already has 2 hits tonight and a sacrifice. He faces Javi Guerra, who got the final out in the 7th. Wheeler slashes one foul, and it's 0-2. Ahmed Rosario on deck, and then Jeff McNeil for the Mets in the 7th. Wheeler at 78 pitches through 7 innings. Might have a chance to go the distance tonight. Second time this year Wheeler's had 2 hits in a game. In fact, it's the second time in his career he's had 2 hits in a game. And he goes down swinging on the off-speed pitch from Guerra, and that's the first out of the 7th. So Wheeler can go rest up for the 8th. By the way, not only does Wheeler have a chance to go 9, but if he's really efficient, he could go 9 under 100 pitches. The last Met to do that was Johan Santana in 2012. The time before that was John Mayne in 2006. That's how rarely that happens, to throw a what they call a Maddox. Complete game under 100 pitches. Ahmed Rosario takes a strike. Rosario launched a 3-run homer in the 4th inning. Ended up in the 2nd deck in left field. His 8th home run of the year. That turned a 3-0 game into a 6-0 game, and the rout was on. Trevor Richards, the Miami starter, gave up 6 runs, 4 of them earned in 5 innings. Ben Meyer was charged with 7 runs in 2/3 of an inning. And Rosario hits one toward the middle of the diamond, and Riddle gets over to get it. 2 out. So 2 out and nobody on in the home 7th. And Jeff McNeil. I don't know if our cameras caught it, but the home plate umpire Adam Hamari just jumped up in the air and banged his shoes together. It must be full of mud at this point. Al Leiter used to do that. Leiter hated to use the scraper at the back of the mound. He would just jump up and bang his shoes together.
That's what the bat was for. What I used to like to do with the metal cleats was you weren't allowed to groove your bats. When I came up, you could groove your bats with a key on the grain in your barrel on the sweet spot. So then when they disallowed that, I would knock off the dirt on my heel and hit my barrel of my bat on my spike, and it would make an indent in there. And then as you kept hitting and pounding, was the same principle as when you, because the hard part of the bat is the wood part, the soft part is the grain.
So you basically were accomplishing 2 tasks with one effort, right? You were not only getting the dirt out of your spikes, but you were hardening your bat at the same time.
Absolutely.
You are just a fox.
Well, I don't think that I was the only one that knew that trick. But I used to always groove and bone my bats, and then they prevented us from keying our bats, and that's because some guys would fill it with cork and rosin and flame temper it, and it was cheating. So us honest guys suffered for the cheaters.
Well, I always understood in baseball that it wasn't cheating if you could get away with it.
Well, the spitball.
Isn't that what they always say?
Well, the spitball,
right? The neighborhood play,
yeah.
cheating off first base, right, on a close play.
But we'll draw the line on steroids.
By the way, DJ LeMahieu just hit a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 9th, and the Rockies beat the Diamondbacks 5-4.
Whoa, what a win for Colorado.
He did it against Hirano, who got the save the night before for the Diamondbacks. So Colorado stays a 1.5 games ahead of the Dodgers, now 3.5 up on the Diamondbacks with a dramatic Coors Field win. LeMahieu with the walk-off home run.
That is a huge win.
McNeil's got 3 hits tonight. 3rd time in the last 4 games he's had 3 hits. He's up to 342 for the year. And Guerra buries one in the dirt, and it's 3-2. Guerra's retired all 3 batters he's faced since he came on in the 6th. 3-2 to McNeil. Conforto would be next. And McNeil grounds one on the right side. Rivera makes the play, and that retires the side. 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 7th. Wheeler back out, working on a shutout. In New York, things are still moving fast. You know, you're supposed to slow down in the fog.
It's hard to slow down in this town. You know, everything's so fast paced.
Well, at least put your fog lights on. Eighth inning, JT Riddle leads off and takes a strike from Zach Wheeler. Riddle is 1 for 2. He has one of the 4 hits against Wheeler. In fact, he had the only hit for the first 6 innings against Zach, as he misses with an off-speed pitch, and it's 1-1. Magneuris Sierra on deck, and then the pitcher's spot for the Marlins in the 8th. There's another curveball from Wheeler. That's been his stock in trade tonight. 1-2.
We're looking at a potential complete game.
Well, he's got 1 in his career, and it came in Miami back before the Tommy John surgery. And he is certainly in line to finish this game tonight if he can have himself a fairly decent 8th inning.
Be nice.
2-2 to Riddle, and it's a little bit low. Full count. Zach has not walked about it tonight. He struck out 6. And Riddle grounds one down to Smith at first, handles it at the midsection, and takes care of him for the first out. Doubleheader tomorrow. 3:10 first pitch. Our coverage begins at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. Jason Vargas will pitch one of the games for the Mets. Steven Matz will pitch the other. We presume Sandy Alcantara one game for the Marlins and Jeff Brigham the other. The Mets are facing a plethora of rookie pitchers in this series. Here's Magneuris Sierra, who's been up twice and flied out both times, and he pops this one foul, backing out of play. Austin Dean is out on deck to pinch hit. So Wheeler is now 1 out away from his longest outing of the year. He threw 7 2/3 against the Nationals back on July 14th. He's at 7 1/3 tonight. And Sierra lifts one to left. Easy for Reinheimer. And he one-hands it for the second out. So 2 up and 2 easily cast aside by Wheeler in the 8th. And now Austin Dean, who started in left field last night and went 0 for 3. He's been getting a lot of playing time coming down the stretch. After having a big year in the minors this year, he had .345 in AA and AAA with 12 home runs and an on-base percentage over .400. Well, we've chronicled ad nauseum how difficult it's been for the Mets to score in their home ballpark. This is one of their big offensive nights at Citi Field. It's only the 8th time in 10 years in this ballpark that the Mets have scored 13 or more runs. The most they've ever scored here is 17. That was in 2016 against the Phillies. 0-2 to Dean. And it's on the outside corner. He gets him looking to retire the side. 7 strikeouts for Wheeler. And he is certainly primed to go 9 tonight. 13-0 going to the bottom of the 8th. Have fun in New Jersey.
Bye. Well, they cleaned up that tunnel nicely too, haven't they?
We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Nick Whitgren comes on to pitch for the Marlins.
Nick Whitgren, his 3rd year with the Marlins, came up in 2016. Just his 26th game of the year.
Kevin Plawecki's former Purdue battery mate will face Michael Conforto, who's 0 for 3 and a walk in this game. And Keith, I want to be the first to say to you, happy Thursday.
Oh, it's midnight.
3 games today. Finish of this one and then the doubleheader starting at 3 o'clock.
That's true.
Conforto has his first base hit of the night as he bangs one up the middle against Whitgren to start the bottom of the 8th. Hit number 14 for New York.
Right back at you.
So the Mets have the leadoff man on. All 9 starters now have at least a hit and a run. Jack Reinheimer up for the first time. Reinheimer had a pinch hitting assignment last night as the Mets were trying to come back in the 9th inning, and he drew a walk to get the tying run to the plate. 4 for 19 since his call up. And Wicker trying to work on the mud in his spikes. Happy to see that the ticket holders for tonight's game have been allowed to trade in their ticket for a future game.
Oh, have they?
That's a nice touch.
Good.
I mean, if you sit around for 5.5 hours waiting for a game to begin, game that was supposed to start at 4 and is going to end it after midnight, I think you deserve some kind of reward. It's even better than you know, the old quad to Candlestick they used to give out for the folks who had made it through extra inning games at Candlestick Park. I like that those folks brought along their favorite player. It's a nice touch. Always nice to sit with some fatheads. Reinheimer hits it in the air to right, chasing Sierra back. And he's got it for the first out. 1 out and nobody on. Geico Sports Night comes up after the postgame. Football continues. The playoff race is heating up with just over 2 weeks to go. And the Red Sox just keep on rolling. Boston got 7 terrific innings from David Price tonight to win their 100th game of the year after they clinched a playoff berth last night. Price looks like he's rounding into form just in time. Mets will be in Boston for the weekend. Nimmo gets under one to right, and Sierra waits for this one to come down through the fog, and that's the second out. So two-way, Dom Smith coming up. So if Price pitched tonight, the Mets will not see him over the weekend. They should see Chris Sale on Sunday, his second start off the disabled list. It should be DeGrom against Sale, assuming that the Mets keep Jake in that spot.
I think that Jake will want to accept the challenge.
Here's Smith, who's had a nice night, a double and a 2-run homer. Well, Paul Sewald is up in the Mets bullpen, but I would certainly have to believe that Zach Wheeler is going to start the ninth at just 89 pitches. Dom pops one up. Ortega coming toward the line, staggers and doesn't catch it, and that's a fair ball. And the runners will wind up at second and third. Ortega coming together with Riddle.
They didn't call him off. You're the outfielder, you got to call him off.
And he was unsure of himself the entire way there. That's going to be an error charge to Ortega. Conforto wound up at third, Smith at second. So the Marlins' second error of the night, and that gives Reyes a chance. Reyes had a good night, a single, a double, and a walk. He's gone 2 for 3, driven in a run, scored 2. Wickman misses high for ball 1. Jose taps one foul, and it's 1-1. At that top of the ninth, the Marlins will have the top of the batting order coming up. Rivera, or Ortega, Rivera, and Holiday. Let's have 2 complete games this year, one from DeGrom and one from Syndergaard, and you would suspect that Wheeler is going to get a chance for his first of the year. 1-2 to Reyes.
Well,
the hardy few.
They like baseball. I like the young kids that are here and still alert at midnight.
Young kids, old kids. And Reyes goes down swinging to end the inning. And that sends us to the 9th. Wheeler with a chance to go 9. It's 13-0.
I was about as paralyzed as a human being could be.
Gary Cohen's 30th anniversary series presented by Spectrum continues as he shares memories from his first Mets broadcast on WFAN with the Hall of Famer Bob Murphy, excuse me. See the full feature on SNY.TV.
Well, this is rather stunning, but Zach Wheeler is not going to get a chance to finish this game. 89 pitches through 8 scoreless innings, and they take him out. And Paul Sewald will pitch the 9th.
I don't understand.
I mean, how often do you get a chance to pitch shutout? Wheeler's never done it.
In today's game, not at all.
I mean, you've got 2.5 weeks left in the season. It's not like they're saving him for a postseason start.
Let's just make 1 point here. It's 8 innings, 4 hits, no runs. Very impressive. What I find most impressive, 0 walks, Gary.
Yep, 7 strikeouts. Pulled down to first. Dom Smith handles that to retire Ortega for the first down. We'll get some thoughts from the guys in the studio. WB Mason post-game live. Gary Apple, Nelson Figueroa, guys. Thanks, Gary. I bet Nelson would have wanted to go 9.
Oh, I would think so. I want to see what Nelson has to say about that.
Yadier Rivera up for the first time, takes a strike. Wheeler, by the way, lowered his ERA. Started out the night at 3.39, which was 10th in the league, down to 3.23. I mean, think about that. Where he was 2 months into the season, and now he's got the 9th best ERA in the National League.
How about that? He was over 5 going into that June 1st start.
kudos to Zach, and lots of props to Dave Island too for the work that he's done with Wheeler to get him to this point. But it has been fun to watch. Strike 3 called. Rivera out on strikes, and Seawald's retired the first 2. And that leaves the Marlins down to their final out at 12:11 a.m.
Everybody's moaning and groaning, and I'm just kind of sitting here going, where have you been observing as this game has progressed?
It's been a big strike zone since the first pitch, which was thrown at 9:45 p.m. 5 hours and 35 minutes after the scheduled first pitch. Brian Holiday, the last hope for the Marlins, struck out in his pinch hit at bat in the 7th, stayed in to catch, and he takes the fastball inside. Line left field, falling in for a base hit. So Holiday keeps it going for the Marlins with a 2-out single. And now Peter O'Brien will bat for the first time. O'Brien came in to play first base. He had an at bat last night, struck out against Robert Gazelman in the 9th. O'Brien has started out in the Yankees organization, has kicked around. He's got a ton of power. Sewald trying to secure the final out, and O'Brien fouls back the fastball, 0-1. That was the 100th pitch thrown by the Mets tonight. Wheeler 89, Sewald 11. By the way, if you're wondering, Marlins pitchers tonight have thrown 160 pitches in 8 innings. See, that would be too many.
Yes.
For one guy. Miami down to their final strike of this long day and night.
And let's put an end to it.
Well, it'll be restarting in not too terribly long, less than 15 hours till first pitch tomorrow for a doubleheader starting at 3:10 p.m. Pre-game coverage starts at 2:30. Keith will mosey on in a little bit later. 1-2. Bounce foul. So let me just get this straight. Ronnie was in the ballpark for how many hours tonight without ever getting on the air? Like 8 hours?
Ronnie got here around 4.
So he wasn't here that long. But he was here for at least 5 or 6 hours.
He was here for 5 hours. That's a long time.
With the whole rain delay.
He could have gone home.
But he did eventually. 1-2, and O'Brien fouls it off.
I was trying to shoo him out of here. I said, go on home.
Even our executive producer, Kurt Gowdy, who was here for the Jay Horwitz press conference and stuck around for part of the rain delay, he even bailed out at one point and said, oh, boys, I'm going home.
Kurt was out of here quick.
Sewald trying to put this game to bed. Just got a piece of that to stay alive. Try one more time. And O'Brien pops one up in foul ground. And that'll be one more souvenir.
Oh, ricochet rabbit.
And I think officially, yes, everybody in the ballpark now has caught at least one foul ball. The 8th pitch from Sewald to O'Brien. And he got him looking. And that puts an end to the night and morning festivities as the Mets finish off a 13-0 shellacking
of the Marlins after a 5.5-hour rain delay. Zach Wheeler going 8 brilliant innings to get the win. Jay Bruce leading the attack with a grand slam. And the Mets even up this series with a 13-0 win.
Well, 3 home runs out of the Mets. Rosario his 8th, a bomb to left field, a 3-run shot. Bruce the grand slam, of course, number 7. Smith joined the party with 4. But this is Zach Wheeler's night. 8 impressive 4-hit shutout innings, 7 strikeouts and 89 pitches.
Game summary presented by Old Dominion. The game took 3 hours less than the rain delay. Wheeler gets his 11th win. He's now 9-1 over his last 11 starts. Lowers his season ERA to 3.23, the 9th best ERA in the National League, as the Mets put on a 13-run barrage. 13-0 the final. Mets win it tonight. We'll come back with more from Citi Field in just a moment.